Beyond the automatic and involuntary life that might be thought of as suffering lies the possibility of a fulfilling, purposeful life. If the life that you have, as mine was, is defined by the next bad thing that's going to happen, this statement may seem ridiculous. It's probably difficult to even imagine having a good life if the life you've had has lacked joy and contentment. It's normal to get comfortable with suffering. The idea of having a life you want may strike chords of hopelessness and impossibility. That's the way it was for me for decades. If anybody were to suggest that life could be good, that I could have the life that I wanted, that wasn't filled with fear and dissatisfaction, I would have said, you don't get it. You don't understand. I have tried everything, and I had tried everything, at least that I knew how to try. But my efforts were informed by 4 false beliefs, 4 assumptions that I had made based on my earlier years. So here are 4 fundamental misunderstandings, false beliefs that if, like me, you're living by, you're going to suffer. Number 1, I believed that what was happening out there was what was causing my suffering and dissatisfaction in here. Number 2, what was happening out there had to be managed and controlled if I were to have any success reducing or managing my suffering. Number 3, some emotions are just too painful for me to tolerate. That's what I believed. I believed that if I let myself start feeling, I might not be able to stop without hurting myself or somebody else. And then number 4, I believed that the best I could hope for was a life without suffering, and frankly, I didn't really believe that was possible. That was just my goal. Let's see how much I could manage it. My suffering got so bad that I started looking for other ways to deal with it. I discovered 5 principles that transformed my life, and I think that these same 5 principles could transform life for anybody that is ready for that kind of change. So here they are, 5 principles that transformed my life. Number 1, suffering manifests externally, but originates internally. So the source of suffering is internal. The solution to suffering, also internal. Resisting uncomfortable emotions is what causes suffering. So to resolve suffering, we embrace it. Number 2, you are at your core fully resourced and have the power you need to overcome suffering. So number 3, change requires choice. Choice to overcome suffering and a commitment to do so. I'm not saying that I chose to suffer. I didn't. I just didn't know that I could choose not to. Number 4, external change requires conscious updating of the internal world. I learned that beliefs, that those beliefs that ran my life had to be recognized and updated to reflect current reality. And I learned a couple of powerful ways to do that. The result was freedom from suffering. And so as I updated my beliefs, I gained access to the innate resources. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I had the power and clarity to start living a life I chose to live. Number 5, when the internal is updated, the fully resourced and empowered self provides leadership and our purpose is revealed. So that leadership started for me on the inside. And I became more aware of what was happening with my thoughts and my emotions. Because I was able to update the beliefs that drove those thoughts and emotions, I gained some control over how I reacted to the circumstances of my life. Learn to embrace your suffering so you can understand it, update it, and gain more and more access to the resources needed to resolve your suffering. This will make it possible for you to begin to imagine a life beyond suffering.